Hey there, it's Susan Pierce Thompson and welcome to the weekly vlog. Okay, this week I'm going to try to do something. We'll see how successful I am. I'm going to try to inject a new term into our bright line eating movement. We have a lot of terms around here, right? I guess the proper word would be neologisms, words that we use maybe in a new way or a different way, or we've made them up. A lot of them come from you. Rezoom, spelled R-E-Z-O-O-M. NMF for not my food. NMD for not my drink. Those are acronyms, but also neologisms in their own way. There's a lot of them around here, and non-scale victories, and so forth. So last year, around this time, in December in particular, holiday time, I launched a new course. And it was the most successful launch we've ever done in terms of the impact that it had, like the number of people that were positively impacted. It's called Reboot Rezoom. And over the course of January and February and March of 2019, I created the course as I was rolling it out to the thousands of people who signed up for it. And we heard from people that it was the best course that Bright Line Eating has ever offered. Like, people just were so impacted by this course. And it was a course about essentially getting back on track with your program, like strengthening your program. And one of the key components of the course was really, actually, for real, building a posse of support. And the thing was that I struggled with what to call that. I kept thinking circle of six. I really like alliteration, right? So circle of six rolls off the tongue really nicely. But I Googled that, and there was some kind of serial killer or something that I was like, oh, that's not good. And it doesn't have to be six, right? Six people in a group of support would be about the right number for an introvert. An extrovert would need way more than that. And if you're an introvert and you're thinking, whoa, six sounds like a lot, I just need one. Actually, you need like 2 or 3 close people, and 2 or 3 or 4 sort of more peripheral people. 6 is actually about the right number for an introvert. An extrovert needs more, both in the inner circle and in the sort of periphery. So I wrapped up that course in March, never really settling on a name for the group of people in your support circle in Bright Line Eating. Fast forward this past year, in my family, we started to use the word boo as a term of endearment. If you Google it, boo is sort of it's a slang word that's come up in the culture, I don't know, for the last, I don't know how long. I don't pay attention much to popular culture, but over the last few decades, I guess, couple decades, I don't know. Your boo is somebody who you love, somebody that you lean on, somebody that you can't replace in your life, somebody who gives you unconditional love, somebody whom you adore. Basically, a boo is someone in your life that you give and receive a lot of love and support with, right? And like my daughter Zoe, we just started to tease each other all the time. Like, who's your boo? Am I your boo? And then I would tease her that her bunny was her boo. In the midst of all this, a family member sent me this little meme, I forget, t-shirt, something. It said Boo Squad, and it had like all these little ghosts on it. It was like a Halloween thing, right? And I thought, Boo Squad, what a great name. What a great name. So fast forward, November 1st, just this past November 1st, was the launch of a new Gideon Games round. So if you're not in Bright Lifers, Gideon Games is this contest that we run every 90 days, so 4 times a year. And lots, like maybe 80 or 100 groups of 10 form. And those 10 people form a team, and they support each other for those 90 days. And the contest is the team with the most cumulative Bright Line days wins. So it's just a way to get people to know each other and to lean in for support and so forth. And Gideon Games teams need to pick a name. So this Boo Squad thing was fresh on my mind, and so I always join the Gideon Games team, the Gideon Games, as a team member, not as a leader. I don't lead a team, I just am a participant. This is one of the ways that I lean into Bright Line Eating for just my support, right? So I'm on this team. My Gideon Games team leader and I were talking about what should our name be, and I proposed Boo Squad. And the next day she sent me back, how about Boo Crew? And I was like, mic drop. Yes, Boo Crew. The sound of it, the rhyme, awesome, awesome. I mean, I love this name. So first of all, I love how it combines masculine and feminine elements. Like a boo is such a caring, sweet, tender, soft term of endearment, like kind of playful. But a crew is like, that's pretty powerful, right? That's a group of people who get together to get stuff done, right? The crew is going to show up, they're going to build the house, they're going to, like the crew shows up to work. And I think putting those two elements together is so sweet. So I said, yes, Boo Crew. So we have this Gideon Games team. We're crushing it. None of us have broken our bright lines yet. We're all like crystal vasing it, even though several came onto the team not really bright at all, but just the force of this Boo Crew, the force field of it just got everybody bright from day one. They're like, oh, this team's not messing around. I guess I'm bright now. And we were like, yeah, you are. And so it started to work, right? The Boo Crew force field started to change the people within this environment, right? So I want to talk in this vlog just a little bit about what this notion of a group of supporters, a group of people that I lean into and who lean on me when they need support, what it means to me in my life. Because, how do I say this without sounding a way I don't want to sound? I'm an unusually successful person. Like, I crush. I just do, right? And I don't mean that in any kind of ego-driven way. I mean, like, look at the record, right? Like, like post age 20. If you look prior to age 20, I was not exactly building a stellar resume. But after age 20, I've gotten a lot of stuff done, right? And I personally would attribute the bulk of that, honestly, to my willingness to lean in for support and to get help when I need help. Let me just give you an example. Last week, it was actually Friday. Last week, I was in my float. I take Fridays off. Friday is my one day of the week that I don't work. And I do this body-mind float center thing. I float in a saltwater tank with no sound, no stimuli. It's amazing. And I'm lying there in the float tank, meditating. And it dawns on me that next week, which is this week, I have more videos to shoot than it's humanly possible to shoot. It dawns on me that on Friday this week, in 2 days, my family and I are leaving for California for Thanksgiving for our annual trip. I'm not going to be back until well into December, and because Thanksgiving is late this year, and this whole reboot, resume launch thing, like, it's going to be happening. And not only do I need to get all those videos shot, but back in July, when the family reunion happened, I rolled out this Bright Lifer longevity reward. Like, now in Bright Lifers, every year that you're in Bright Lifers, the investment to stay in goes down, so you get rewarded for your longevity, blah, 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 till it's like at the point where it's like $29 a month, which is frankly just one restaurant meal that you don't need. And, not eating that one restaurant meal covers it, so it's like really affordable. Anyway, then I had my breakdown in July, and I never shot those videos to like explain it to the Bright Lifers. So that whole program's been on hold. So I have to shoot those videos. And then we're going to have a whole crop of new boot campers come January 1st, because, January 1st, and that all needs to be done for December. I have those videos to shoot, and on and on and on. And I was lying there in the tank thinking, oh no, like, this isn't gonna work. What am I gonna do? And I got out of that float and I started making calls. I started assembling support. And this is what I do in advance of the difficulty. Like the week hadn't dawned yet that I needed to get all this work done. And it's Friday. We've got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And my thought is, where's my crew to help? Because I'm not doing this alone, like no way. And I started to think about my kids and how I'm really trying to do things differently around my kids. And my daughter Zoe in particular is really, she's really sensitive these days when I'm in my office working, especially in the evenings, right? She's like, hey. And I started to think this week is not gonna work without a whole different framing on what it's about. And so I assembled a team of support and we started brainstorming. How could this week not just be like possible or less hard or like doable? How could we turn this week into a life transforming positive experience for the kids, for me, for the Bright Line Eating team? And we created a game out of it. And it's the Team Thompson Crush It Week game. And what we did was we created all of these things that everyone needs to do to get points. We created family prizes that we can earn with those points, like going out to a nice dinner together, taking our kids to their first rock concert on Thursday night if we get enough points for that. We created a game. And I didn't do it alone. I had people with me with pads of paper. We were brainstorming. And that's what I was doing. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday, we rolled it out to the kids. They're so excited. They're thinking this week is the funnest week ever. Yes, funnest is a word now, just saying. I shot a video in Marco Polo, you know, that app that you can shoot videos in, to my Boo Crew, my Gideon Games team. I think it was Friday. And I told them, I got Hell Week coming up, but I'm going to try to transform it into a really positive experience. And I really, really, really could use your support, just emotional support. Just send your good juju through the airwaves, would ya? And I started to feel it pouring in. I know the feeling because I had the feeling when Alexis and Zoe were born, weighing 1 pound, and they were in the hospital for 4 months in intensive care. And David and I were spending all day, every day, staring at them in these little isolette boxes. It was during that stretch of time in my life that I got my first experience with what it's like to be the recipient of waves of support flooding in from lots of people, not just a couple people, lots of people. We rallied support then too. We didn't know the phrase Boo Crew, but we had our Boo Crew back then, and Alexis and Zoe had a 4% chance of both being alive and healthy, and they both are. And this week so far is going great. It's actually fun. It's amazing. And the videos are getting shot as a byproduct of a bunch of people leaning into support. I rallied the Boo Crew, and they're here. You can't see them, but there's a whole bunch of people sitting over there, standing, sitting. The Boo Crew is here right now because this is one of the videos that I need to shoot this week. So I want to talk about your Boo Crew and your Bright Line Eating program because it's the holiday time. And I promise you, the Boo Crew is the X factor. If you've got a head right now that's telling you, yeah, it's holiday time, we're just letting this slide, we're going to get it back together on January 1st. I'll tell you right now, it's because you're not connected deeply enough with a crew of people who are supporting you in your Bright Line Eating journey. And last week, I went to my daughter Maya's first basketball game. She's 8. She has tournaments. It's ridiculous. And it's really quite cute. And they're not very good, just saying. It's really fun to watch, but they're not very good. Maya's just like I was on the basketball court. She just dribbles. Like, that's exactly what I did. And she doesn't look up Like she has no idea what's going on the court. She's just dribbling until they take the ball away from her and like steal it. That is like the first level of Boo Crew effectiveness, is like you're just pretty isolated. You're not very good at getting support. And you wait to get some support until the catastrophe is past, right? Like you go through all the hard stuff, and then when you've survived it, you share about it maybe with like a person or two, like after, right? That's like, you know, just saying, like rudimentary, not very skilled Boo Crew level, right? Then you go up in effectiveness, and now you've got a person or two that you actually confide in all the way through. Maybe not when it's super hard. You'll go through those days alone. And you've got that isolator part that's saying, you know, I got this. I'll call my friend, you know, not now though. You go up the ladder of effectiveness, and you get to the point where you're so woven in with a Boo Crew that people know how you're doing. They can feel it when you're off a little. They reach out to you, hey, are you all right? I just, you know, my spidey sense is saying something's a little, you okay? And you tell them, you know what, not really. I got this and this and this. Thanks for reaching out. You have so many people. Again, if you're an introvert, it doesn't have to be 40. But like 2 or 3 who are tracking you literally on a daily basis, and 2 or 3 or 4 more who you're in touch with on a weekly basis. That's like basic Boo Crew functionality. And the reason this matters for your bright line eating journey, especially over the holidays, I hope this is obvious, but the reality is we are herd animals. We will not do something with our food, which is a basic component of social interaction. We will not do something with our food long term that our system perceives to be a threat to our belonging to the people who matter to us most. And since we cannot control whether our spouses, children, family members, colleagues at work, whatever, do bright line eating, we might be lucky enough to have a family member doing bright line eating for real, but that can actually bring its own challenges too. Since we can't control that, we need to have people that really, really matter to us who are doing bright line eating and in it to support us. Because without that, over time, I don't want to be different, I don't want to be weird, this is too cumbersome, I'm an imposition on people, all of that nonsense in our heads, which frankly is true in that outside food environment, right? But we don't want to follow the outside food environment. 70% of people are overweight or obese. 63% of people are dying too young and in pain from the food they're putting in their mouth. Following that path is insane. What we do here with our food is sane, but it's counterculture. It's swimming against the grain. And if you don't have people who are your Boo Crew that you're communicating with regularly, you will not be doing this a year or 2 years or 10 years from now. Happy, thin, and free is not on your radar. Having a Boo Crew is not an optional thing. It's a requirement for living happy, thin, and free long term, and especially through the holidays. You know what I do on Thanksgiving? If you're a Bright Lifer and have been for a while, you know. What do I do on Thanksgiving? Every year, since Bright Line Eating has been around, every year, I have not eaten sugar or flour or eaten what my family members are serving on that day in that way. What I do on Thanksgiving, I wake up at the crack of dawn in California and I get on a long Bright Lifers coaching call. And I sit there in the lobby of that hotel in Monterey, where we always are, in the corner where it's a little bit quieter, with my headset on, and I talk with my Boo Crew out through the ether. Thousands of people will either be on that call or listening to the recording shortly thereafter, Thanksgiving morning. And then I post in Bright Lifers, I'm available to talk all day, and I go to Aunt Judy's house, I socialize with the cousins, and then I go for a walk up and down the hill, and I talk with Bright Lifers one at a time. Hey, how you doing? Loving you. Sweet to connect. All right, I'm gonna go back in where the hors d'oeuvres are. Not eat them for a little bit, socialize with the family. I'll make another phone call in about 45 minutes. That's what I do on Thanksgiving Day. I'm an extrovert. You don't have to do it exactly the way I do it. But Thanksgiving is an amazing day. And my family at Aunt Judy's house, they feel like I show up. Because when I'm in the room, I am there. And just saying, I crush at that Texas Hold'em poker tournament at the end of the night. Just saying. Thanksgiving is fun. And I'm not thinking about any food that I'm not eating. I'm thinking about people. I'm thinking about warmth. I'm thinking about connection, because I have a boo crew that supports me in crushing it at my Bright Line eating journey on Thanksgiving. So, please think about your level of connection with us. We are here. We are here. I love you. I want to be in your boo crew. And I will end with a little blip of scientific research. There is nothing, literally nothing, that science has discovered that contributes more to a human being's happiness, well-being, flourishing, health, and longevity than the number and depth of their human connections. Their boo crew. I'll see you next week.